Oh man, I was jamming out to that and almost lost track of time. Welcome in, everybody. Let me turn that off. Yeah, wow, that was a good some good music there.
Yeah, having a good jam. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing, sir? How's yourself?
Oh man, I'm doing great.
Good.
It's one of those days. I did a software update and we lost sound there for a while earlier. So
Oof.
hopefully everyone can hear me. Everyone can hear Ducks, and we're ready to kick off another awesome episode.
Yeah, excited for this one. I do love the gadgets and all the accessories and things. There's so many options out there today. So this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Hey, what's up, Sabine? Welcome in.
Sabine, how are you doing? Welcome.
Oh,
Great to see you.
coming in with compliments. That'll get you everywhere with us. We love those.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my.
Awesome. Let me make sure to
But
sit
yeah,
up
very
straight.
cool.
Welcome in again, everyone. This is episode 3 of the Going Live series that Dux and I have been putting on, just about giving back to the community and talking about what it takes to put a stream on, what it takes behind the scenes, what tools you can use, tips for hardware, and that kind of stuff. So far, we've covered the hardware just to get the stream up and running. We covered OBS last time, the software that we
Mhm.
use to broadcast out to all you wonderful folks. And today we're going to talk about other accessories that you can add on to your PC, or even using a gaming console. Um, so yeah, really quick. We'll just do a quick intro, some quick intros.
Mhm.
I'm Nerding Scott, if you're familiar. I've been streaming for almost 6 months now, actually. Got into it. Been following it for a long time. I've known Dux pretty much since he started as well. And yeah, I have a background in marketing and one in IT, so I know my stuff. Oh, you sneezing over there, buddy? I saw you trying to hold
Just
it in.
sorry, I was trying so hard. I'm like, okay,
I saw
intro's
you.
coming. Sorry, I
Intro's
didn't
coming.
mean to break
No,
your
no,
rhythm,
it's
dude.
totally funny. That's how we
Keep
roll.
going. By the way, Sabine, I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah,
We are
welcome.
doing well too.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a background in IT and in marketing. Putting both of those things to the test here. Starting up streaming and a business. So super excited to be with you guys. We've got a ton of common interests. Ducks and I. We crossed paths about 8 or 9 months ago, and we've been great friends ever since. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I'm really excited to be here and share all this awesome knowledge that we have together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Ducks here, you probably know me from my channel if you've seen me over on twitch.tv/DucksinDisguise. I'm also out there on Twitter, cracking bread jokes pretty much every day. But I too have a background in IT. That's my professional world. I work in both new technology development as well as marketing and branding and things like that. So, great skill set to be able to bring to something like Twitch and the streaming community, and just kind of, start to adapt that to all this. So it's been a real fun ride, and yeah, I absolutely love doing this podcast because I am technology focused. That has been, I mean, since I could get my hands on a computer, I've been building them, customizing them, all that kind of stuff. And with that comes all the wonderful gadgets and accessories that you can get for these things.
Yeah.
Even keyboards. Like, I love keyboards, you know?
That's the intro video is just a keyboard, a video of the keyboard, and they're so fascinating. So,
Hmm.
hey, what's up, Ryan?
Well, Ryan, how
Welcome
you
in.
doing?
Thanks for joining us, sir. Um, cool. Well, without further ado, let's just jump in, and I'm gonna cover a couple things. I'm gonna cover. Oh, he's jumping into a lurk already. Welcome in. Yeah, that happens. I have a lot of worker lurkers and a good community that supports me, even if they can't engage in chat. So glad to have him here. Yeah, well, let's. The first one that we want to talk about is our. Uh, oh, let's zoom out a little bit here. Is the capture card. One of the things that
Mhm.
the Ducks and I both do is we stream not only from a PC, but we also, love our consoles. Ducks can talk a little bit more, and add some tips on using the retro consoles and stuff like that. But I use a Switch and a PS4, soon to be a PS5 as soon as I can get a pre-order on one of those things. Um, but the game capture card is crucial in getting that set up and being able to hear sound, use Discord, use a lot of the other tools while you're streaming. It also is we say this every time, takes the resources off of your PC, and puts them on some other device. So Elgato is really the standard. I think most streamers use. Dux and I both have Elgato capture cards. I'm running the just the HD60S, which runs about $180. Dux has the S Plus, And the main thing you
Mhm.
get from that is the HD capture and where's that at? Oh, and the HDR pass through, which gives you extra quality on those uh, streams that you're doing. One of the other things I was actually looking at this a minute ago. Um, I can't. There we go. Is the multi-app support? Have you run into any issues with that? I didn't realize that the S didn't have multi-app support.
Yeah, so I think that's what happens when I try to say if so Discord is something that will look at any video capture device as a
Mm-hmm.
webcam. So that includes the Elgato capture card. So if I
Right.
already have OBS running and I'm capturing a game and then I open up Discord after that, my feed just dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it gets discolored and distorted and it just freezes.
Okay.
So yeah, I totally believe that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's one of the gotchas there. Again, this is a really good graphic. It's pulled right from Elgato's website. I did add the prices here because it didn't have them all listed, but um,
Mhm.
the that is the only thing on that that might be a drawback for me. I think I'll probably still get one and then test them out, see how it goes.
Mhm.
Let's see. The other option is, so these are both external capture cards. So I'll actually pull this over right here and show you guys. That right there is my capture card. So it just sits right next to me here. You can unplug it, plug it back in, really quick and easy. Well, I don't have a camera on it, but it's plugged back in. So um, the thing that I've noticed the most or had the biggest issues with on the capture cards is the sound. Sometimes it stops capturing sound, and you've got to just unplug it and plug it back in, or you can
Mhm.
switch the input. I know I also have HDMI switch to change inputs, and you can just try toggling that, or you have to unplug it and put it back in. Um,
Mm.
I think you've had similar issues with yours.
Yeah, so that's interesting because when I initially started streaming, I tried to bring audio through the capture card and do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
What frustrated with me about that is I didn't have fine control over the levels in my headphone monitors.
Yep.
So I eventually just started routing the audio through, say, either the line in on this mic. You can
Mm-hmm.
kind of see it just below my headphone jack here. I can run a source into there or into the mixer. And I don't try to capture audio through the card anymore. I just
Gotcha.
for the retro stuff, I have an AV switch that has like a headphone jack out on it,
Mm-hmm.
so I can just run a cable right from that into the mixer. Or if it's a different thing, the switch has a headphone jack on it. You can run that right into a line in on your PC or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're using to listen in. PC's the same way. Just use the headphone jack and run the audio out that way. That's if you're having issues with the audio capture.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that we'll get to it in mics, but the new microphone I has its own mixer, so you can separate the
Mhm.
sources that way, and I can control the volume of the game volume separate from the PC volume and all that stuff. So yeah, gaining control of your audio is definitely a key thing that um, you know tweaking your stream can definitely benefit from.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I have no experience with the internal ones. Then I would assume that they wouldn't have that issue.
Mhm.
Hopefully, because you definitely don't want to be trying to unplug internal PC, PCI slot from your computer every time it stops broadcasting sound. That does not sound like fun.
No,
Yeah.
that's asking for disaster. Removing an internal card while the PC is on is never
No.
recommended.
No,
Don't
you
do
don't
that.
want to do that. Other one that was really some of the really cool is the 4KS. That one's a little pricey,
Mhm.
and it I think that one would be more for if you're actually recording high end graphics or high end video. It
Mhm.
has its own SD card, and yeah, it's just a beast of its own. Um, Really quick, there are other options out there. They're not; these aren't the only ones. Hey, what's up, Game Lost? Ew, wrong,
Game
wrong,
lost. Hey.
wrong program, but pretty close. I thought I appreciate you using the emote there. That's awesome, man.
That's funny.
Um, there are other options out there. AVR, it's capital AV and then ER,
Mhm.
has a has similar products out there. One of the really good budget ones that I've heard good or AVR media um, is this one right here is one of the little tiny guy for like a portable one. Um,
Mhm.
he wanted to say hi to Ducks, and you can say hi to me too. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Hey,
Gameless
Game
is
Lost, how you doing, man?
uh, Gameless is a great guy. He likes to rib us good. So welcome in, man. And then yeah, so these again, I've got prices here. They range all the way from 400. Well, this one's $600. So that one's got to use the Live Gamer Ultra. It's great, cool. So that I'm glad that you stopped in right at the first time.
Yeah.
Um, which one's the Ultra? Oh, say that's this one right here, the $200 one. Yeah, so similar price to what we were just talking about with the Elgato. Um, and yeah, these ones again, you've got a testament right there. Gameless streams quite a bit. He also does a lot of different retro systems, so that's definitely kudos to that accessory right there.
Yeah,
And
I
last,
was
oh, go ahead.
actually looking at sorry, I was gonna say I was actually looking at that mini one that you were pointing at. I was considering starting with that as my primary one. So,
This guy right
yeah,
here.
I too have yeah, I've read a lot of positive reviews on that. And with the 4K pass through, I mean, if you got the 4K monitor or TV,
Yep.
can't really beat that.
Yes, sir. Cool. And the last but not least is Razer. And I talked to they have one option for um a capture card. When we talked about this program before, Dux, you said you tried this one and didn't have any good experience with it.
Mm-mm,
Oh, good.
no. Unfortunately, guys, I personally cannot recommend this one. It was the first card that I bought because I do have a lot of Razer accessories.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, hey, capture card, it's going to be solid quality, good build quality, all that stuff. I had nothing but problems with it. It would constantly lock up and freeze. And, maybe there's been a firmware update to deal with those issues. Of course, go out there, do your research, read your reviews. But
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I wouldn't recommend this one. I would stick with Elgato or the Aver Media.
Cool. Gameless has a question. Had a question here. Are you talking about the plus on the Elgato? So this one says it has a pass through of
I think he
4K.
means that one.
This one
Yeah,
right
that one
here.
does say pass through 4K 60.
Yep. Yep. This one right here.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at it. I wanted to run it out to a TV.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Before we move on from these, or I'll go back here really fast. I was going to show you guys got too many things going on here. A quick look at what the interface looks like on the capture card. So this is the Elgato capture card. Your signal's right here. You do have one volume adjuster. You can do it here. Um, you still do love the Aver or the Ultra. Awesome. Um,
Mhm.
I will just turn on my PlayStation real quick, maybe, and we'll show that come up here. I could turn the switch on too and switch between the two. Um, but the cool thing about this is if when you're playing it on a PC or whatever, if you have two monitors, you can maximize this, um, and you'll see it's just on your monitor. You don't have it. It's pretty unintrusive,
Mhm.
so you don't have to. You won't see this whole screen here. I don't know if I can get it to do that, but it comes up right here. Yeah, there's me. There's my first and last name. Welcome. Can't get my credit card information, hopefully. But yeah, so
Where's
that
my camera?
what's that? Where's your camera?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
was like, where's my
it's
camera?
it's already recording, man. Cool. Um, yeah, but that's again, it's a really cool, nifty software. Again, it's pretty low maintenance or whatever. You just turn that on. Again, you might have to unplug um, the external capture card sometimes to get it to capture sound, but if that's the worst thing that does, and it does all the other good stuff, hey man, more power to it. Let's
Yeah, that's a win.
yep. I'm going to shut this down real quick because again, it might try to do an update or something and kill my internet bandwidth, so we'll turn that off. Shut this down. It's crazy all the things that you can control just from your computer here.
Hmm.
All right. Besides a capture card, if you are trying to pass, or you're using your monitor is another big thing that you can use as an accessory. One of the things that I ran into recently was I was trying to upgrade to a 4K monitor, and there's so many other factors that go into what makes a monitor uh, run that totally skipped that it didn't have the resolution that I needed. So I got all the other factors in it, but it wasn't a 4K. And luckily, somebody out there on social media uh, tipped me off to that and said, "Hey, are you sure that's a 4K monitor?" And lo and behold, I looked and it was only a 1080p. It had great refresh rate. It had all of the it had the IPS, which is one of the standards in good screens, but it did not have the thing. Hey, Sigma, what's up? Sigma
Sigma, hey,
with a
thanks for that
raid.
raid, buddy.
What's
How is
up, guys?
everyone? T1D, hello, hello. We're just
Yeah.
getting into a talk on monitors.
Ooh, okay. But again, there are so many things. Like I made this graphic. I just put all that. I mean, you've got resolution, pictures, HDR, full HD. There's so many things that you uh, could consider. And there's so many. I didn't want to bore you guys with too many slides, so I want to just recommend a website real quick. I'll pull this up. Um, Tom's Hardware Review Monitor Boards. This is, you can always go out there and Google something. Oh, look, it's got Doug's head cut off again. Let's
That's
see.
all right. I don't use most of it anyway.
Oh, now we got you completely gone.
So just oh yeah, I've
There we go.
disappeared. I've
There we go.
disappeared. Oh, okay.
We got you back. It's all about the layering right there.
Yeah.
Um, Yep, input lag. So there you go. So when
Mhm.
you're looking, so finding a 4K monitor, you can get up there in super high price range. You want a 4K. Um, this thing goes through and kind of breaks it down on what you want to look at first. So you want the higher resolution. You want full HD. Um, and then again, if you want to get one for less than $1,000, you probably have to make some concessions. Like you're not going to get a fast refresh rate. You're probably going to get a lower refresh rate. You're going to have to deal with Geico. Um, the yeah, so you want like the response times are another big key factor to those. Um, let's see, what did he say? Oh, he's just talking about losing you there. You want to keep your response times down on that to keep keep it from showing screen tears or also from having a lag that skip scenes or something like that when you're streaming to everybody. Um, IP or TN, IPS, and VA are kind of important as well. I think there's a graphic down here that kind of breaks down what TN, VA, and IPS are. Um, Again, so much stuff to look at, but really you want to concentrate on the pixels, the refresh rate, and that thing is really bright. It's making me all washed out. We'll close down there. And yeah, the pixels, the refresh rate, um, and what was the other one? And the response time. Those are the three main factors. And if you want all those to be super high, you're going to pay a super premium for those. Um, Dux, did you have a 4K monitor? I forgot. I don't know if we talked about that.
So it depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm playing PC games, I do play on a 1080p PC monitor. It's not super fancy. It's like 90 hertz refresh rate,
Hmm.
but it has a really low response time, and that's kind of what I wanted to add here. Is that response time, especially depending on the type of game that you play, it may be crucial above most other things, except that frame rate as well, the hertz, the max
Hmm.
refresh, because your response time is going to determine how quickly your inputs register from your keyboard and mouse to on-screen action.
Right.
So if you're playing like CS:GO, you want that response time as low as possible.
Right.
Um, so that's just another thing to consider is what is your content? What are you
Yep.
playing?
Cool. Well, we do have a surprise as well. So I had been in the market for one, and not 30 minutes ago, the monitor that I've
Yeah,
been waiting for showed up. I'm just gonna pick this up, and this is what we're talking about.
new
Holy cow!
gear. Also, hi Sigma, we are doing well. How's yourself?
So that just showed up on the doorstep 30 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
super excited to unbox that, and I might do a whole teardown and redo the whole the desk. You know, that's kind of what you do, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, New Gear Day is like Christmas for me. Like
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite days of the year is like you get that big new, be it monitor, PC, whatever. That's a good day.
Yeah, I was super excited. I was hoping it would be uh post desk shots on. Yeah, I think I might do
Mhm.
a full teardown and do from scratch. So that might be my whole afternoon today.
Nice.
Nice. All right. The last thing that I want to talk about real quick is just USB mics. So I'll zoom in
Mhm.
on this. Um, so USB mics are super easy to use. They're again plug and play, and they don't come at a super high cost. So I opted for Elgato. I should probably have Elgato like tattooed on my forehead, or working real hard for that sponsorship. But
Say, we'll
um,
get that sponsorship, man. Don't
yeah,
worry about
they
it.
they just, I mean, they make good products. They make
Yeah.
products for streamers. They work. Um, I did, like I said at the top of the show, I did do a software update, and it did a firmware update to the mic, and I lost all the settings, so I had to scramble to get it all back and working. But 30 minutes later, I was up and rolling. Uh, aren't you supposed to tell? It's not sponsored yet, though. Um, but you see the again, we wanted to highlight that there are other options out there, and they all usually have really good reviews. The Elgato Wave 3 is what I'm using, which is about 160 bucks. The HyperX, which I have their keyboard. I love the keyboard that I have from them. And it's it's 160 bucks. And then Blue Yeti is another one that I looked into seriously before pulling the trigger on the Elgato, and they were in stock, and I had to wait for the Elgato one for a while. So um, the main factor for me on the Elgato was actually uh, the Wavelink software that that you can get to run with it. It lets you separate a lot of the sounds out and control the volume of different things. So like if I go like this and Ducks talks, I can mute Ducks so you can't hear him. Um, and it gives me, yeah, it gives you a lot of volume. What's up?
Just like mute me. I was like, oh yeah, he does have the power
I
here.
do have the power to mute ducks if I need to.
That's
um,
funny.
so the main thing again with these is it's a USB and not one of the audio cords, which really can, if you get down into, if you do want to start doing really high quality sound and do a lot of stuff with like mixing and stuff like that, you do need to go to something like that, or use a USB mixer. Dux will actually cover that here in a bit. This will be a
Mhm.
good handoff. But if you're just looking for something to get up and go, um, and it's puts out some good quality volume and voice, these ones are really great. You won't go wrong with any of those. um, I've gotten tons of compliments on the stream just right after I got the mic upgrade. Before I was just using the thing right on the headphones here. So um, you got to get started sometime, and then just gradually add the accessories and move forward with them. So
Mhm. Absolutely.
cool. So
Yeah.
again, that's a segue into what Dux will be talking about. He can kind
Yeah.
of expand more on USB mics and mixers, and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, throwing my hat into the ring, I do have a Samson G-Track Pro USB microphone. This one is, it's around that price range. I think right now it's sitting at around $140, and it's a really good value. You get good audio from the microphone. But I wanted to talk a little bit about XLR and Mixer. microphones, XLR microphones and the mixers you need to support them. So the important thing to look at here is, we've got several different styles. You've got your traditional vocal mic, you've got a more podcast style, you've got your vocal boom mic, which right there, that one on the far right is going to be the Shure SM7B, which is kind of the holy grail of microphones for anything that's podcast or streaming and stuff like that. That's kind of the top of the line, that microphone. So if I had to recommend one, that would be it, but it's very
This
expensive.
guy right here.
The one on the far right of the microphone, so the one that's almost in the center, that one right there, that is an incredible vocal microphone. But like I said, very expensive. It sits around 400 USD when you can find it in stock.
Wow.
But the important thing to note about XLR microphones, regardless of what style you go with, is that most of them require phantom power. Phantom power is essentially a way to say the microphone needs additional electricity to be able to increase its sensitivity and give you gain and things like that. So it actually picks up your voice and you don't have to be right on it. Um, so that's where a mixer comes in, or an audio interface. Now, I didn't put any audio interfaces on here because I really don't recommend them. They tend to be very overpriced for what you're going to be using them for, which is plugging in a microphone, maybe another source. So I mean, you can get something like the Behringer Xenix Q802, which is what I use when I go for a mixing solution. This sits at around 70-80 bucks, brand new. You've got your two XLR inputs. So if you're going to have, say, a real life guest for a podcast or a co-op stream or something like that, you're covered. Both of them have phantom power on there. But this wouldn't be my top recommendation. And I learned that the hard way. So the thing about USB mixers, and you do want a USB mixer. If you go with a traditional, just hardwired mixer, you're going to have to still have a decent quality sound card. You got to run cables to the line in. It's a mess. I would just avoid that altogether.
Right.
Get yourself a USB mixer.
Tripping hazard.
Yeah, tripping hazard. Like, the last thing a streamer needs is more cables. I'm sure all of you out there can relate and agree with that. So yeah, the thing that I learned is a lot of these USB mixers, you can't monitor the audio of the PC it's connected to and all of the things you have plugged into the mixer at the same time. Most of them make you switch between the two. So that's why I would strongly recommend going with the Yamaha AG series. These actually, you can actually see it in one of the faders, the far right hand fader that still has a white background on it. It's got a little computer with the USB, so that allows you to mix in your streaming PC, or if it's also your gaming PC, you can mix all that in with all your external sources. That's the only mixer that's decently affordable that I've seen that can do that. So that would be my recommendation there. Again, the big things to remember with XLR is there is a wide range out there. You definitely get what you pay for. You can get a $10 XLR mic, or you can go all the way up to, thousands of dollars. The sweet spot, if you got the cash, is going to be that Shure SM7B. It's going to give you a real clean vocal tone that you can use for spoken stuff. You can use it for singing, capturing instruments, all kinds of stuff. But really, the key would be just go to your local music shop. There's a lot of guitar centers out there, for instance, and they will just have all these things set up. You can go, you can listen to them. If you're looking for a warmer tone, that's going to require a different microphone. There's so many different things to consider. I would highly recommend going and checking one of those places out if you're going to go for something like an XLR mic. Otherwise, the recommendations that Nerding provided are fantastic, and of course, I have to say this one does pretty well
That's
as
one of the
well.
things that you recommend, not for the mic, but just for a mic stand. Like you mentioned, you had to get a mic
Mhm.
stand real quick, and in a
Yeah.
pinch, I actually went in and got one just to get my mic kind of raised up off of my desk. Now I'm gonna have to rearrange everything with the monitor, but man, yeah, that was a really good tip. Like I didn't even think about it. I was gonna order one off of Amazon or do something like that. So, yeah, good tip to go check in there. I mean, that's what the Guitar Center and stuff like that are all about, is the audio. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, they'll have a little section in the back with keyboards and stuff. Once you start seeing that, you're in the right place. You can get just about anything you need there for the stream. I've done it so many times. Audio cables, pop filter, all that stuff. It's like, I'm just going to run down there and get it. You'd be surprised what you can find in your local music store that's going to help your stream and actually be in stock.
Yeah.
That's a problem right now with a lot of online places. If you're looking for this really good or really popular stuff, it's just out of stock. It's hard to find.
Yeah. So GameLust mentioned the Mackie Pro FX V2. Did you
Mhm.
have one? I think you guys said you had something in common with those.
Yeah, so both Gamelust and I are kind of audio heads.
Hmm.
So that's cool. I can solidly agree with that as well. The Mackie stuff, they're good. Just again, I'm not sure where they're, I believe somewhere in their line they have one where you can mix in the source PC's audio, but worst case scenario, you can make it work with something like this. All you're going to do is run your sound card out from your PC into here, and then your source on your PC is just going to be whatever the sound card is here. That way, you're not getting any echoing noises. Your audience is still going to hear everything, and you can still make that work. It's just again, it's another extra cable. It's messy, so that's why I strongly recommend the Yamahas just for or the Yamahas, not
Yamaka.
Yamakas, the Yamahas,
Nice.
just because they make things simple. There's fewer cables, and yeah, it's just so much better for your setup. But yeah, that pretty much covers XLR and mixers. Just again, try stuff out, read the reviews. There's such a wide variety. Whereas with USB mics, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, but there's a few solid recommendations. With XLR, there's so many good options that really you just got to find the one that works for you. But it does involve a lot of extra setup. So really, if it's just you, a microphone, and a console, don't bother.
Yeah.
Just get a USB one.
That's what
It's
I.
so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you just have one more input, like an instrument or something like that, still, I would still go USB and then, bring in that other source with your line in or something.
Cool.
It's not until you're going with like two microphones and sound from a computer or something like that that I would really recommend going to a mixer.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So, with that, another popular accessory out there, and I get this question all the time: the Elgato Stream Deck. What is this thing? Do I need it? I'm just starting out, or I've been doing it a few months now, and I want to spice up my stream a little bit. The Stream Deck. What is it? How can it help me? So I wouldn't quite necessarily say this is essential. Okay. Okay, Game Lust got to run.
Yep.
No
Take it
problem,
easy, man.
man. Have yourself a great evening. Thanks for dropping in.
Yep.
But yeah, so the Stream Deck, it's I wouldn't necessarily say it's essential for everyone, but it is incredibly useful.
Mhm.
So what this does is it allows you to control all sorts of things. You can control OBS with this if you use Streamlabs OBS. Switch to OBS, but you
Mhm.
can use the Stream Deck for Streamlabs OBS as well, and it's highly customizable. So I have the standard Stream Deck. They also make a mini and an XL. The mini has, I believe, 6 keys on it, which to me I don't think is enough for what most people need. I would recommend at least going with this one, and I think the XL, while wonderful, is a little too pricey. I will say one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the way the buttons feel, but I mean, that's so minor. Everything else about this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can customize it with your own images. You can see in my screenshot there in the software and also right here on the deck. I made all of these icons myself and then assigned them. You can assign custom icons for both active and inactive. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
The great thing about this is, again, you can control OBS, Streamlabs OBS. You can control certain applications. You can control Twitter with this. So you
Oh,
can actually set it up to hit a button and it will switch your status and send out your live tweet all with just one button.
that is handy.
Um, yeah, very handy.
Mhm.
Also nice if you're doing pre-recorded material, not even for streaming, just you doing pre-recorded stuff. It's nice to have those hotkeys very visible, with a nice big record icon or something like that, and
Mhm.
stop and pause and all that. So if you're doing pre-recorded stuff, you're doing something for your YouTube channel or something like that, a Stream Deck is still incredibly useful because then you're not hunting for your hotkeys on your keyboard. You can see just at a quick glance what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
There is a lot of flexibility there. You can also do things like call sources in OBS. So if you want to pop up a graphic for a celebration, say you win a boss battle or something like that, you want to have fireworks go off,
Yeah.
you can just hit a button, call a source, and have the animation play once. and there you go. You've got on-call kind of interesting little effects you can do.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah.
what's up, Holy? What's going on?
Hey, Holy, how you doing?
Holy has
Very
been
cool.
joining us for the Bloodborne that we've been doing. Holy, this is a talk podcast that Dux and I do about streaming. Welcome in, sir. Real quick, while we're on the topic of stream decks, I was actually
Mhm.
hanging out with another friend of the channel, and you know him, Curlsberger, and
Yeah.
he was like, you gotta talk about stream decks. He loved his, and he started pressing all the
Mhm.
buttons to show all the stuff that he could do and all the chat commands and stuff like that. um could you tell me how to chat with ghosts? That's another program
That's a
that
different show.
yeah. I don't think you're gonna get as many cuss words and things thrown or laughs that way.
Right.
Yeah.
We try to keep it clean here, but it's good to see you, Joe.
Yep. Awesome. So yeah, so I was gonna ask you a question about that really fast. Oh no, that it does seem really handy just to be able to switch. Oh, I know what it was. I was gonna give you a crap about the zoom, like you hate the zoom in and the zoom out. So you
Yeah.
could definitely set that up on the Stream Deck to change your camera angles. So if you guys do
Yeah.
like that, zoom in and zoom out, that's where you could do it super easy.
Yep, that
Mm.
is true. So I did I
Mhm.
did show you guys how to do that on the OBS tutorial.
Yep, you did.
And really then it's as easy as going in here and setting up a new scene. You can kind of see the options there under OBS Studio Scene where it says collection and then scene. So I have multiple scene collections. I have one for my arcade setup. I have one for, and again, we went through this with OBS. I have one for my retro streams and all that stuff. They're in different collections. So what's really nice about this is you can set different you can set the collection and the scene, so even if you do want to switch from one to the other, you can actually go across collections with just the push of a button. The other
Okay.
thing that's nice about this is you can actually set up pages of buttons, so you can have one that's all for one collection and then another that's like I could have one for all my arcade stuff, one that's all just cooking stuff, and have all the buttons be different. And it just
Nice.
anytime you plug it in, it just there it all is.
Awesome. Do you know how many
So yeah,
pages it can do?
I'm not sure. I know it's way more than I would ever use.
Cool.
I don't
Awesome.
know the exact number, but it's
It's a
way
book.
out there.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So really, really good stuff. I do love the Stream Deck. Like I said, you can get by without it, but if you are looking to go next level and change things up a little bit, you
Mhm.
certainly can do that. There's also a thing called application integrations now. So Elgato opened this up as a third party sort of. They basically handed the keys out to the community and said, if you want to make integrations with other applications for Stream Deck, go right ahead.
Cool.
So there's things like Vocoder, which is a voice changing application,
Mhm.
so you can download that, integrate it with your Stream Deck, and then sound like a robot or
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
There's all kinds of
Cool.
effects out there. You can also integrate this with Spotify. So this can, if you use, say, Harris Heller's playlist for
That's what we were
streaming, and
jamming
you
to
want
this
to,
morning. Yep, when we started. Yep.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So you can use that again to skip around with Spotify and all that. There is a lot of functionality there. I will say that just be prepared for a time investment to set it up,
Yeah.
because each switch does have to be configured individually. You
Mhm.
can copy and paste and then edit, but it's still, if you start thinking about, depending how complex your stream is, it can be very time consuming to set that up. Is
There
nerding getting a Stream Deck? That's a good
that
question.
might be one of the next upgrades. I mean, after the monitor, actually, well, no. I'm gonna I can't I gotta save my money for a PS5. That's what's gonna be next. So
Hmm.
no more. I'm gonna get something fun. Well, they're all fun, but I'm gonna get a PS5 next for sure. There is a Stream Deck app for your phone.
Mhm.
I looked into it, but that one's a subscription service, which is kind of interesting. I have
Yeah,
that one as a subscription, so you pay monthly. I think it's like $24 too, which isn't cheap. So
right.
it's kind of crazy. I thought it would be like a $5 thing or something like that. I was like, oh, I can just do it on my phone right here, but nope.
Mm.
So event down the line, yes, Stream Deck will probably be added, but for the moment, I'm okay with point and click or hotkeys. and
Yep.
it,
Yeah. Point and click is always a solid strategy. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't use my Stream Deck on every single stream. In fact, I would say about half of them, because it's again, it all depends on what you're doing. If you
Yep.
are engaged with your game and your chat and you've got commands set up for them to trigger these events, then point
You
and
don't
click,
even
you'll
need
get
it.
around.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away the value of this item. There are several benefits to this. It's all just, again, dependent on your content, just giving you some options.
Let's see. Potato laptop. Hey, again, Farmer Joe, we are in the mindset that just get started
Hmm.
streaming. I mean, we've got friends that just stream right from their PS5 or PS4, with a headset, and they get excited. Our friend Praise, he got a new desk and got it away from the front room, and has his own spot. So, um, the key is to just get started and add this stuff as you go. When I started, I was on a gaming laptop with my headset, and that was it. And I've always been into collecting this kind of stuff, and tinkering with it. So it's grown since then. Um, we'll see some stuff on Twitter here later this afternoon or tomorrow of the new monitor that I'm going to be putting in today. So Ducks and I love this stuff, but we definitely know
Hmm.
that it's hard to to get it all accumulated, and trying to do it all at once. I wouldn't recommend it. Piece it
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a priority order here, guys. As far as streaming goes, one, like Nerding said, just get going.
Mm-hmm.
Just get yourself out there, even if it's with a headset, microphone, no camera, direct from the console. Just get out there and get doing it. Because the thing that's going
Yep.
to take the longest is getting comfortable with your own style, identifying even what your own style is.
Yep.
That's going to take the longest time and be the most difficult thing to do. Everything else, uh, the gear will come. You can
Right.
buy, like we were saying, piece at a time. I started with a microphone, and I'm going to cover it very soon. I used my cell phone as my camera. I just bought a
See.
cheap app off the app store,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's what we did. So and you just buy piece by piece after that, and before you know it, you're sitting pretty good, and you can get back to focusing on your content. But
Yep.
highly recommend just starting there. Just get comfortable with you and your style.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Let's see. Yeah. You just do what you can. Have fun. Yep. Exactly. The most thing is have fun.
Mhm. Yeah,
uh,
that's the biggest part of it. Have fun, start meeting the people.
Yep, and T1D even says, "Yep, he does. I've joined T's streams, and yeah, your stream looks great. You're streaming from a Xbox or whatever console you can. Just it's awesome."
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Stream Deck, guys. Like I said, it's not I wouldn't say it's essential, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It can do some very unique things for you. So what I want to move into next is talking about cameras. So this is a big topic because you have so many options, and I've kind of laid them out here in the graphic, but let's kind of go from from one to the other. So I can say that the cell phone camera, it works. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a great option. One, it's very hard on your phone because it activates your camera and will leave it activated for hours. So I would notice after I was done, I would go in and I would just touching my phone, it was very, very hot. So while you can get away with this, it's not necessarily the best option. If you just really want to get your face on there, you want to start, playing with overlays to see what it would look like.
Mhm.
Yeah, go right ahead. I would recommend an app called Ivy Cam. That's the letter I, Indigo, V, Victor, and then Cam, CAM. It worked very well for me. It works both wirelessly and wired. The wireless functionality is very cool. So, as long as your phone and your streaming PC are hooked up to the same Wi Fi connection, you can go anywhere with that phone and stream video from it. So that's really handy if you have a bigger studio or you want to get up and do something maybe just outside your home or something like that on stream. You can actually do that. So that's also a solid option as a secondary camera, something that you would use temporarily for a few minutes and then shut off and go back to your primary setup. So again, if you're just getting started, you need something, you got $5 in your pocket, go check out IV Cam and get a tripod for your phone.
Cool.
Next option for you, a lot of people do stream from gaming laptops and things like that. So you're going to have an integrated webcam.
It's right by
Um,
there.
yeah, these will get you by. They're
Mhm.
not going to be very good quality. They are mostly designed for things like video chats. which you're looking at a minimal resolution. Even this one here, I think it says 720p, but if I switch to that camera, it's not good. It's not very good at all. Another thing with these cameras on the laptops, they don't have a very wide aperture, which means you're not going to get a lot of light into the lens, which means you need really strong lighting especially if you're going to use like a green screen or anything. But even to get a decent frame rate out of these things, you need really strong lighting because the lower your lighting on any camera, you're going to start having issues with frame rate. So that's something to keep in mind with the laptop camera. Not only that, but it's also a lot harder to position.
Yeah, you gotta like
But again,
move you're gonna move the whole screen when you're moving the camera.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to literally move the whole thing.
Mhm.
So that gets really challenging. But again, if you've already got it and you don't want to invest any more money into the camera aspect of things, it's there. It's an option. Just consider your lighting and keep your expectations in check. So the next one is going to be what's most commonly used by a lot of streamers, and that's USB cameras.
Yep.
There's a lot of good ones out there that are focused on streaming in general. I use a Razer Kio myself, which is this guy right here. This is a secondary camera. I've got a couple of these. They do work really nice as secondary cameras. The only drawback I have with these is it can be a little glitchy sometimes, and you have to reset your exposure for some reason. Um, but otherwise, great camera. It does rotate on the top here or on the ring here. This is a ring light and it's adjustable.
Cool.
So that will give you a little extra fill light. I wouldn't use it as a primary light source. It's definitely not strong enough for that. But to add a little fill light, like for my arcade when I do the camera on my hands, this is the fill light for that. And that looks really good. Again, just keeping distance in mind and how far away is your camera going to be. If this is going to be really far away, that light's not going to do anything for you.
Right.
But great camera, 1080p 60 frames per second, or I'm sorry, 1080p 30 frames per second, or 720p 60 frames per second. Usually you're going to be minimized and in a corner anyways, so that resolution is not bad even if you're streaming in full HD.
Right.
Another recommendation I can give is the Logitech C922, which is what we're looking at next to that. It's an older webcam. It's been around for quite a long time, but you do get that same great 1080p 30 frames per second or 720p 60 frames per second, so you can match the frame rate of the game that you're playing.
Yep. That's the one I'm using.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. See, and yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Fantastic camera.
It's a great camera, except for the lighting is getting crazy with the extra bright screen. Usually I have a little darker in here, but it's all good.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah, it's that Razer camera in the picture. It's
It's blinded me.
yeah. Okay. So if you're looking to go beyond the realm of USB cameras and you really want a silky smooth frame rate and you want to be able to maybe do some shooting for YouTube videos and things like that and get that real nice depth of field, we're going to start going into the realm of mirrorless and DSLR cameras. So DSLR cameras are going to be a little bit bigger than what's pictured here. I'm going to cover those in just a second because they're what I use and recommend. But a DSLR camera, those are the professional photography cameras that you see out there. You have to be very careful choosing one, though. A lot of the budget DSLRs are not good for streaming. In fact, you will kill that camera if you try to use it for streaming. Because they're not designed for video. So you're putting a lot of stress on the image sensor, which is just a little panel in there that captures whatever image the lens is seeing. And you can potentially burn in your image sensor. You can overheat your camera and damage it that way. There's a lot of things to consider. That said, if you spend a little more on a DSLR, you can find some that just have a direct video out pass through with no things on the monitor. That's a very important thing to consider is when you've got that video feed going out from the camera, sometimes it'll show all the little stats. Like it's this many, I'm recording in this many frames. Here's my
Right.
little recording light indicator. All that stuff shows up there. And on some cameras, you can't get rid of it. It's terrible.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that. So what I would recommend is going to a mirrorless camera. So mirrorless cameras, they don't have the same amount of internal parts that a DSLR does. There's far less that can go wrong. There's far less heat being distributed throughout the camera body. and a lot of them have a direct out where it's not even really engaging the sensor at all to record anything. It's merely passing whatever the lens is seeing out through the cable.
Makes sense.
So what I have pictured here is the Sony A5100. That's what I use. It's an older camera. These days you can find a Sony A6000. That's going to be the equivalent. And what's great about these cameras is they do have interchangeable lenses. Any Sony lens will work on these cameras. Any Sony digital camera lens will work on these cameras. So if you're looking for a high end, top production quality film looking lens, you can buy that. The kit lens is what I'm using now. So this is what the camera comes with, and it's pretty good quality. But I also have a 50 millimeter that I use for some of the more fancy videos you may have seen out there on Twitter and things like that.
Yeah.
All that's done with the same camera. And I also like that they're very compact. I can move this thing around. I can throw it in a bag. It's a great
It's
size.
not a huge
Something
camera.
you'll want. Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants this huge camera that you've got to like adjust around your monitors, or if you're going to take it out with you, you've got a separate camera bag. This thing, I mean, it fits in a coat pocket.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Uh,
Something to note, and it's the reason I picked that specific image, is if you're streaming, you want to be able to see how your camera's framed up, maybe without looking at OBS. You just want to, as you're looking at your camera, kind of see how am I framed up. So this one does have a flip up screen on it. A lot of them do. I cannot tell you how convenient and valuable that is to have.
yep. So that's the Sigma just asked the one that you're the which one is it that you're using? What was the name of it again?
So I'm using the Sony A5100. If you can find a used one out there, I'm pretty sure they're not being manufactured new. They've been replaced with the A6000. But if you can find an A5100, I can't recommend it enough. I've accidentally left this thing on for like 6 hours and it
Wow.
was still going.
Oh, cool.
So there's no issues with heat overheating or stability issues. It's a really solid camera. But I also did want to mention Canon's new lineup. So what's really interesting is Canon just released a firmware update. I'm talking months ago, just a few months ago, to allow a lot of their mirrorless and some of their DSLRs to act as a webcam through a single cable.
Oh wow.
So I'm kind of jealous about that.
Yeah.
Because with a mirrorless or a DSLR traditionally, you need a couple extra pieces of gear to make that work with your PC.
Yeah.
One, you don't want to use a rechargeable battery because your battery is going to die midstream. I guarantee you're not going to get more than an hour and a half out of one of these things
Yeah.
on a rechargeable battery.
You always
Doesn't
want
matter
direct
what the
power.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you do have to buy a dummy battery, which does incur additional cost. I bought an off-brand one and it was about $40. If you want the one from Sony, you're looking at like 90 to $100. That's an expensive thing when you're already looking at a $400 or $500 camera.
Yeah.
So definitely a drawback there. The other thing you have to get is a cam link, right? Because how else are you going to get that HDMI into your computer? So one, you've got to make sure you have that available USB port, which is a problem I constantly run into.
You run
And
out of
two,
USB. Yep.
yeah, you got to have that cam link ready to go. So all the cam link is, it looks like a thumb drive with an HDMI port on it, and that's all it's for, is to capture your video from an external camera like this in a silky smooth 1080p 60 frames. I do have the Camlink 4K, which allows you to capture at 4K at 30 frames per second, but I still think a lot of us smaller creators are quite a ways off from being able to see any real benefit of creating content in 4K. We
Right.
can't stream it. Getting it up on YouTube and having enough people that can actually have the bandwidth to watch it, it's
Hmm.
just impractical at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. So that exciting firmware update from Canon does bring their cameras back into the picture in quite a big way, because Canon is one of the best in the world, right? We've all heard of Canon cameras. They have so many lenses available for their cameras, and to be able to run everything, power, video, everything through a single cable is really nice idea. It's even got me thinking. But I gotta say, I have no reason to replace my Sony, so I'm probably gonna stick with that for a while.
Gotcha. Sigma's asking about the Rebel DL. What's it? A TI5?
The TI5. Okay, so that is one that where you're gonna have to do a little research. I believe that one on the video out, you're still gonna have a few items, and you may even have to have it engaged as recording to get it to output to HDMI.
Mm.
So that's because when quick story. Quick story.
Go it, man. Get it.
We did a live panel where I work, where we were basically interviewing executives up on a board, and we had a bunch of cameras on them and microphones and stuff like that. And I believe that is the exact model of camera that we tried to use. It worked, but we did have an issue with it where you actually had to push the record button to engage the HDMI out.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you just didn't get a signal. The problem with that is then on that signal out, it had that red dot in the upper right hand corner
Yeah.
that was like you're recording. Now, if you're streaming, you can crop that out
I was gonna
real
say
easy
you can
with
always crop
OBS.
those things out for sure. So that's
Yep,
not.
that's an
Yep.
easy one. So that's one concern that you can easily solve. The other issue I had with it that may be a little more difficult, and I think it's because we were using a rechargeable battery, was an overheating issue. Over the course of a 2-hour live panel, we had it go down 3 times,
Wow.
and it was due to heat. It
Hmm.
just shuts off.
Hey, Davey.
Hey, Davey, how you
What's up?
doing?
Welcome in, Erg. Chats, keeping each other company, making sure everyone's doing good. I appreciate that, guys. Um,
Yeah, I've just been rattling.
I
I've
know.
just been
I again,
rambling
I
on.
see. I've been
Erg,
watching, and I'm
hi.
just letting you go because it's such good stuff, man. It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I hope this information is useful. There's so much to consider with cameras.
Hmm.
Some things that aren't pictured here again because I can't personally recommend them, but they are options for streamers out there. Those are going to be your GoPros.
Hmm.
Things like those live action cams. Those are actually pretty solid options from what I hear. My only concern again would be with heat. If you do really long streams, you may have a heating issue with those because they are so tiny,
Yeah.
and they would have to be engaged for hours on end. Typically, those cameras are deployed for shorter things like, a bike ride, maybe an hour, something like that. So that's a bit of a concern. The other one is just a straight up video camera. They exist. Plenty
They
of them
still make
exist. Oh,
video cameras, huh?
they still make
Wow.
video cameras. They make camcorders. I know.
Wow.
The problem that I have with camcorders, the camcorder style ones, is the lens is
Yep.
fixed. You can't change it. You're basically paying hundreds of dollars for what better be the look that you want because you can't get a different one now.
Right.
Um, you can still get a clean signal out from a lot of those, but again, just make sure that that's the quality and the look that you want before you pull the trigger because that's what you're stuck with.
Yeah.
You can go all the way up to the high end and get the real professional video cameras where you can change the lens, but then you're talking thousands of dollars. And what are you watching this show for? You're doing fine.
Nope. Never over top Sigma. Yeah, we appreciate you saying hi to everybody and asking how they're doing. There's never you're never gonna get flack for that. That's for sure.
Yep. Nope. Not here. No, we love that. It always makes me so happy when people in the chat start welcoming everybody. It's like, yeah,
Yep.
you guys got
Yep.
us.
Everybody should know each other. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm still floored that they make web or camcorders, man.
I know. It's like
Yeah.
hearing, like, if somebody was like, hey, there's a 2020 model VCR, I'd be like, what?
What? Yeah.
It's on the same level of like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They still make camcorders. I know, because that was another option that I was looking into before I got the Sony.
Mm-hmm.
But really, guys, if camera is your next upgrade, my personal recommendation would easily be a mirrorless camera.
Mm-hmm.
Just the flexibility versus the price. I mean, this for me was about $400 with the lens and everything. You can do even better if you check out the used market. There are new options coming out all the time. I think these larger camera manufacturers are starting to catch on that, hey, these little mirrorless cameras are really great for streaming, and
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly why Canon put out that firmware update, because they know that if they can get their setup to a simple one cable, well, that's a dream for a lot of us.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, absolutely. The T3i, I believe that one, I'm not 100%. It may be a little more capable than the other one that you mentioned. I would just try the HDMI out on it if you have a capture card. Otherwise, you're gonna have to find some way to test that out. Just hook it straight up to a TV, even, and just run that HDMI out and just see what kind of what you're getting.
Yeah.
Um, if you do run it for a while to test for heat, I would recommend moving it every now and again just to avoid that image burn in on your sensor. That can be a killer. It's pretty rare, but it can happen, and then you're always going to have a ghost of whatever the lens was looking at. You don't want that. So yeah, I would recommend a heat test and also just hooking it up to a TV just to make sure that your output is clear. If those two things work out, go for it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. You will always get a fantastic frame rate and low light performance out of these things that you just can't get anywhere else. And that's why they're so pricey.
No worry. You want to make sure so you can change the delay on your voice using
Mhm.
OBS. One of
Yeah.
the things you kind of have to mess with the settings there, but you can change that on OBS.
Yep, there is a and it's in milliseconds, so you can get very fine-tuned with that.
Hmm.
Um, I honestly, I don't have to do any of that with this.
Hmm.
And this microphone, I can't. I mean, as I'm talking here, I don't really see much of a delay between when I'm talking and when it's going. So I don't really have that issue with these cameras.
Hmm.
But again, every system's different, every setup is different, so your mileage may vary.
Yep. Yep. Sabine, that's an awesome compliment. Thank you so much. We again,
Thank
that's
you.
why we decide. I mean, when I asked Dux to do this, he was like, "It's a no brainer." He loves talking tech. So do I. Um, and I honestly, those questions test our knowledge. If we don't know, I'll be the first one to tell you, and I'll look it up and get back to you. But
Mhm.
this is just is an awesome opportunity for us to talk tech. Um,
Yeah,
and
guys,
streaming in
any
general.
questions?
Yeah. If you guys have any other questions, feel free.
Endured hundreds of it, Sigma. That's
Nice.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it, man. I live this stuff. I breathe technology and gadgets and all this stuff.
Hmm.
Like, I can't get enough. Even the stuff I already have, like I want to go buy a different microphone just to see
Yeah,
see how
exactly.
it
Yeah,
sounds, or
we
like,
gotta.
yeah, a new monitor just because I'm bored with this one. Like,
Yeah.
I can't help it. I love the new stuff.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. One of the things that we're trying to do, and again, it's just a time thing, is take these and put them up on YouTube so that they are. You can still go back and find the videos if you sift through my channel down there through them, but you got to go through a bunch of them. I'm trying to take the time and go back and kind of edit them out and put them on YouTube. So there'll definitely be a tweet about that when we get those up for sure. Um,
I did, Joe. But yeah, that's something I've been trying to do myself, guys. I'm still getting caught up on just life. But I'm looking to host this content over on the YouTube channel as the full streams. Like Nerding said, he's going to be chopping this up a little bit. I'm just going to be putting them there for posterity's sake, so
yeah.
we could always go back to them. But yeah, that's stuff. My personal YouTube channel. We got a little ways to go there, so
Yeah,
more time to
mine's
come.
I've got it set up, but I haven't put anything up on it. So yep, I'm in the same boat.
Very
Um,
cool.
cool. So did you guys have any other questions? Happy to answer, stick around and answer some other questions. The
Mhm.
next episode is going to be more theoretical, not as techy. It's still about streaming, but it's going to be more about growth. How do you've got your accessories, like we've said, just start going, no matter whether it's streaming from your console or your laptop or whatever. Get stuff going. How do you get your stream to grow? Dux has done a great job in growing his over I think you're almost to 10 months now. You're getting really close to a year.
Yeah, December 1st. Well, not December 1st. It's more like December 7th, I think.
Okay.
I got to go back and look at the exact date, but it's very early December is going to be my 1 year anniversary. And exciting news over on my channel. We hit our last follower goal of 400 followers
Hmm.
last night. So
Nice.
thank you guys so much for that. And we'll
Yeah.
be celebrating that. And yeah, so I definitely have some thoughts on growth and what has worked for me and what I've seen work for others.
Hmm.
So that's going to be a good show. You're not going to want to miss that one.
Yep. Big congrats for that for sure. I
Thank
just
you.
had a milestone. I hit the 150 hours streamed earlier today. Thank you.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be there. It's crazy to think that those hours have added up. Um, it's crazy, and then we'll be on 6 months, I think, short. So I gotta start behind you, and you can see our goal at the bottom is to get to 200 before the end of the year. I think we can make it.
Hmm.
Shouldn't be a problem. But
Oh
again,
yeah.
setting yourself realistic goals and then celebrating when you get them is going to be part of that conversation that we have too, for sure.
Hmm.
Step one, be charismatic. Yeah. Thanks.
So, Sigma, you said you had a question that may be off topic. I'm curious. Now,
Yeah,
now you've got my interest.
there you go.
Thank you, Erg. I appreciate that, man.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Audio question. Okay. Yeah, I got a moment.
Yeah, we can chat about audio for sure.
Yeah, I need water. That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, I was all this
Mhm,
talking makes you thirsty, man.
mhm.
Here, I'm gonna minimize
Yeah, yeah.
that. Just get it out of my face here. You guys can check out the cool accessories and setups that Ducks and I have going on
Yeah.
there. All the RGB lights.
Yeah, you can see under the GeForce GTX 970 in there. There's like there was those little lights. So that was a fun little project. I actually used Corsair light strips, the LED light strips, and I basically altered the bottom floor of the case above the power supply so I could put in some corrugated semi-transparent plastic and then run the LED strips under that. So it kind of looks like a little dance floor. It's pretty neat.
Nice. Wait a second, I missed Ducks and Nerding YouTube. We have them out
Mostly,
there.
yeah, we have them. Mine is there's nothing.
Yeah,
There's,
it's a
I think
placeholder
there's
for
like
now.
3 clips on there, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really nothing up there.
Hey,
Um,
Erga, it's always it's always a pleasure, and you're out there everywhere. It seems like everywhere I go, I have Ergs saying what's up to us. So you're the man. Again, can't say enough about you, man. You're awesome.
Yep, it's always great to see Erg in the chat. Such a awesome supporter and creator himself, guys. You can go check out his YouTube channel. So okay, we got our question
Yeah,
from
there it is.
Sigma. I just bought a very basic mixer, 4 ports in, one out to my headset. I noticed the inputs sometimes have noise on the line. Oh, and replacing that. This is so cool. I've seen the Snap-on Ferrite noise suppressor things. I'm not sure if this is meant to help. Yeah, yeah. Hold on one sec, bud. I got you.
You got him. You got him up out of the chair. He's gonna get.
Yeah, I've got this right here.
So help.
Yeah, so I've got this little guy right here. This is a noise filter. You can get this. Let me see if my camera will focus on it. There we go. So you can get these on Amazon. I think they're less than $20. And what it does is exactly that. So the reason why sometimes you're getting input buzz or you're getting sound buzz on your signals, you're getting interference from something. So for me, this is a huge issue because I've got like 9 consoles, 3 PCs, and an arcade machine, plus the cameras and accessories and all the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and lighting and things like that that go along with it. So basically, that introduces so many so many series of electronic interference in my audio
Mhm.
that I went out and I got some of these. All you got to do is plug the cables in and basically put this between your audio cable. So source goes in here and then out from this end goes to your PC or your mixer or whatever. This eliminates that noise.
Mhm.
I've every time I've run across it, I've put one of these in there. Works every single time. Cannot recommend this enough. So, is the occasional noise just a fact of life or a mistake on your part? Um, okay. So, is the suppression adjustable? It is not. It just for me, I haven't noticed any negative drawbacks to this. It takes out that sound and it doesn't like muffle your audio or take out a frequency or anything like that. I honestly don't know how this works.
It's
But it is
magic.
magic. Yeah,
Uh,
and I absolutely love it. But
s-
the occasional sound, what is that? The occasional noise just a fact of life. So
so
if
just
if you're saying you don't get that all the time,
are you
it's a
saying it's
fact of life.
unavoidable and you're just gonna have to deal with it or get a noise suppressor? Is that what you're asking? I mean, one
If
of the
if that's
things
what you're asking, yes.
you could do, it's weird. I mean, you could check the connection, make sure things are plugged in all the way, try to get other
Mhm.
electronics away from the cord connections. Um, yeah, I mean, besides using the thing that he's talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. There's I mean, you can fiddle with a lot of settings. Sometimes you just get lucky.
Yep.
But for me, that wasn't happening, so I picked up like 3 of these things, and yeah, I use them on all my lines now where I'm not just plugged in directly. Like with this mic right now, it's just a straight USB connection, so I don't need it.
Hmm.
But anything that's running a quarter inch or eighth inch cable, this is on it.
Hey, Sabine, thanks so much for staying up so late with us. Oh my gosh, 1 a.m.
Yes, thank you,
That's
Sabine. Thank you so
awesome.
much for joining us.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Have a good night. We'll see you out there on the Twitters.
Yeah. Follow-up question. What you got? I could do this all night.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's good stuff. You tried to type in ducks instead of the other one, Sabine, instead of bugs. uh,
That's funny.
yeah,
I know autocorrect has been killing me
yeah.
lately.
The mixer is not between the source and the OBS, so can I just get one noise suppressor and put in between the okay. Also, is it a noise just into your headphones, or is it output noise?
Yes, so the mixer is not between the sources and OBS, so I can just get one noise suppressor and put it between the mixer and the headset. Yeah, so if your USB signal, you're gonna have to do a record test. Go into OBS, just hit record for a while, listen back to your audio. If you're not getting
Okay.
any interference in that video file and the audio sounds clean, then yes, get one noise suppressor to go to your headphones. You're getting some sort of weird interference from that jack, which is totally possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Stream viewers don't hear the noise, but you do.
Yep.
Yep. I would try one of those and put it on your headphone jack, see if that works for you. It very well could. I'm not going to say I guarantee it, but I would highly recommend trying it because it's
HD
worked
captures levels.
miracles for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no noise from that.
Cool.
Yeah, so you're good.
Awesome. Real quick, since that picture's up there, there's a picture of Duck's capture card, his
Yes.
Frankenstein of a switch for all of the inputs that he has. That thing is awesome.
Oh,
Would you
that's
call it the Tower of Power? Oh, it
yeah, the
left.
tower of power. I've got the AV switch, the capture card, an HDMI switch, and an AV to HDMI upscaler all stacked together.
It's awesome, dude. It's awesome.
It's wild.
Cool. Any other questions, guys? I think I know who we're gonna raid if he's still on. Yep, he's still on.
Got a raid going? Who's getting the raid?
We're gonna go. Let's see how long Lamppost has only been on for 13 minutes. He's doing another one of his podcasts, interviewing. Who's he interviewing today? Law Mage Academy. So we're gonna go over and
No
raid him
matter
real
whether
quick.
it's a big
Oh,
streamer or
and Dux was on that podcast or on his show a couple weeks ago. So let's go show him some love. He's a really great guy, good guy in the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, very cool.
Let me get this. I always hate that it doesn't take you over there, so I always open up like two windows, like a raid window and a window to go switch over and stream and listen to him. So give me 1 sec
Good
while we
call.
get this up. Dux, if you want to do a sign off or say anything cool about your channel, what's coming up this weekend, anything.
Yeah, guys,
Yeah.
we got some cool stuff going on. So tomorrow I'm going to be on the stream with Scaredy Matt again. We are going to be playing Dead Space 3 co-op. That's always a good time. So be sure to check that out, 4:30 p.m. CST. Also, Sunday morning at around 10 a.m. CST, I'm going to be back doing my solo thing. I think we're going to do some viewer's choice for you guys. So I hope you stop by. Again, we just hit that milestone, so I'd like to do something special for you guys this Sunday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. All right. Thanks again, Dux. Thanks again, everyone. Sigma, awesome questions. Erg, thank you so much for being here. Sabine, Davey, Farmer, anybody else that we forgot to say. Again, really appreciate you guys all stopping in. And here we go.
Have a great night, everybody.
All right.